Someone's perception of a certain thing is so intuitive, so apparent, so obvious, yet it is ambiguous when it comes to describing that exact feeling. When I first played Punishing Grey Raven, even before the global version that launched a few days ago, the sense of strikes, the impact of clashes, the clang of metal, giving a palpable sense of intense power was one of the things that caught me off guard. Why did that feel so distinctly notable? Why was the force of the attack so potent? Where is this uncanny feeling of satisfaction coming from? Certainly those who have played PGR will acknowledge that the combat feels way too good for what it is, a gacha action game. And as if I have an intrinsic obligation to not let small things go underappreciated, I took it upon myself in discerning why that is the case. Of course, the mechanics, fluidity, and technicalities are fundamental in bringing life into a game's combat, and PGR definitely has quite an intricate system considering its genre. And also yes, the combat feels so fluid, it's actually disrespectful to some other ARPGs I've played in recent years. But I don't believe that's where the abnormally perverse sensation of the combat comes from. The verdict I've reached in retrospect is so obvious, it's actually comical. It's something that's present in every single game. Yet it is Punishing Grey Raven that made me develop an immense appreciation for it. Well, it was PGR and this game. Sekiro. I can already feel the intense stares coming at me as if they are shooting piping hot steak knives. How dare I compare a mobile game to a supposed masterpiece? I don't believe PGR being a mobile game gives it any less merit than a AAA game, but I digress. Someone perceptive enough might have already figured out what I'm going to talk about. Yes, it is the sound effects. Both Sekiro and Punishing Grey Raven's sound design is impeccable, both with a very different focus, yet nails this one aspect of sound effect that makes every single strike feel powerful. Disregarding the fact that PGR has my favorite boss OSTs, here is an example for what I mean. Raw, utter, undiluted gorgeousness is what this is. Elation started seeping through every pore of my body at the total ferocity of the collisions the first time I saw this. The slowing down of time, the distortion of sound, the clang of blade, the sheer display of colossal velocity and kinetic energy in her thrust due to her being in front after the strikes, and then that hunk of metal flying across the arena with speed rivaling that of the thrust is a testament to the patent force of the attack. It's not only the parries but the regular tempest of attacks as well. Every single clash of the blade feels so fierce, so swift. You can feel the cosmic strength behind them, almost as if they can break apart the fabric of reality. That is actually Alpha's description in-game as well. Just through the sheer power of sound alone, that clip was able to evoke an infallible sense of weight and power behind the attacks. It literally gives me the same feeling as when I was parrying in Sekiro. Both have the dynamic camera work, the intense sound of final parry, but the clashes of blades is the one thing that stands out the most in both. I have heard multiple people talk about just how powerful the sound effects feel in both games. Someone even added the Sekiro sound effects behind the parries in PGR and it works so well. Furthermore, my favorite character to play right now is an archer. Never have I ever thought that such a sentence would leave my mouth. Who in their right minds would play an archer when the main character is a dual katana wielder? And yet... these SFX make it feel like the arrows are flying so fast, They would pierce clean through solid titanium. The boosted version feels like incessant gunfire from an entire battalion. And not to mention the S variation of this character does this. Did you catch that? One more time. Before she goes into this mode where the arrow shots feel like they could literally split apart the atoms of the target, she does a snap. The echo behind the snap is so slick, so intense, reverberating throughout the entire arena, granting it an immense sense of scales, gives me goosebumps. It's so simple, so unnecessary, yet it makes these seemingly normal attacks seem infinitely more powerful. The pure confidence and elegance in that action, that sound, it's like a coronation for the upcoming nigh mind-numbing salvo of arrows. Almost every PGR character's strikes feel potent in their own way, like how this character's punches feel akin to an artillery shot that could shatter boulders into dust in an instant. Gunners feel like machine guns. Heck, even mage-like characters feel so snappy, it's like they could render your nerves useless in less time than a blink. But in order to intoxicate your brain with the unequivocal sensation of a particular thing, you need to make use of more of your senses than just the auditory ones. Smell and taste are impossible as of now. Touch is weird. Sight, however, that is quite possible. I don't just mean the animations. PGR attack animations are incredible in my opinion, but looking at it from a more objective standpoint, they add slight screen shakes and a very small hit lag in most attacks. Hit lags are basically a small amount of lag they add when your weapon connects. A numerous amount of games do this to add a sense of weight. The intense screen shakes with the hit lag almost makes it seem like you're splitting apart the screen. While Punishing Gray Raven's sound design is undoubtedly phenomenal and the thing that stands out the most, I mention all of these little things as only the amalgam of these small details can amount to make the combat feel good enough to warrant so many people sharing the same opinion. Seeing as PGR is Kuro Games' first major game, them focusing so much on these small details is praiseworthy to say the least. Going back to the statement about it being comical that PGR's immense satisfaction of combat comes from the sound effects, it really is weird. All games have sound effects, but rarely do they put this much effort into making you feel an overwhelming sense of power coming from each strike. Most of my audience is from Kingdom Hearts, and KH3 does have great sound effects. But apart from Firaza and Perfect Guards, nothing really stands out enough to mandate further appreciation, whereas almost every attack in PGR overdoses my neurons with adrenaline. Now you may be asking, why I'm mostly talking about the characters that have yet to release on global? Well, it's due to my lack of knowledge in regards to sound. It could be comparable to a newborn baby. I know nothing about the science behind how different sounds affect the brain, just as how Kuro Games got better at making their characters' strength feel more apparent with time. It also got easier for people to illustrate the subtleties behind why that is the case. I assure you, all of these are applicable to the beginner characters as well. Also, I think it's more natural and fair to scrutinize the best of something rather than the worst. This is also why I'm not talking about the mechanics of the game. Systematically, the game only gets better later on, so when more people get to experience the phenomenal bosses like Siren, Mother Structure, Lamia, and a few others, I plan to make another video deep diving into the combat. Never thought I'd be legitimately willing to do something like this for a mobile game, but PGR is that good, and I'm having tons of fun with it. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, or learned something new, or just understood why PGR combat felt that good, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and subscribed. I mostly make videos elaborating on certain aspects of games. I also stream Punishing Gray Raven and Genshin Impact every other week, so you can tune into those.